Hey drummers, how's it going? It's Alex once again, bringing some more fun-free drumming ideas. For this week's lesson, we continue our two-part series. We're going to take that sort of intermediate drum beat we did last week, the solid 16th note patterns between the kick and the snare drum. And this week we're going to make it slightly more advanced by adding a slightly more complex hi-hat pattern where we're playing 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and we'll chuck it onto the ride, get our left foot going and make it all a little bit more challenging. So if you like what you saw in the intro and you want to give it a crack, stick around and I will break it down. Here we go. All right, so hopefully you've all digested that groove from last week. If you haven't, here's a little refresher. We had kick, snare, kick for beat 1. Snare, kick, snare for beat 2. Kick, snare, kick for beat 3. And snare, kick, snare again for beat 4. So one more time through that. Kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare. I'll groove it out. Okay, quite a nice little groove, and it sounded pretty sweet when you started thrashing it about on the crash or a nice jangly ride cymbal. What we're going to do today is we're going to sort of focus on the right hand, so we're going to change the ostinato. So the ostinato is that repeated pattern you play with your right hand. Last week it was just 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and this time we're going to chuck a couple of 16ths every beat and play 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. And this makes the groove so much more difficult to play because you've got to find out whereabouts those hi-hats line up within that sort of 16th note kick snare pattern. So if we just go through it, sort of maybe look at beats 1 and 2 and then beats 3 and 4, and then we'll get it going before we move it over to the ride cymbal and get the left foot involved as well. So if we take a look at beats 1 and 2, the pattern's going to sound like this. All right, so it can be a little tricky. Beat 1 itself, bass and hi-hat, snare, bass and hi-hat, bass and hi-hat. 1 E and Then we get to beat 2, we've got another hi-hat, 2 E and So if I sort of loop that around a couple of times, 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and you can play around with that. So if I quickly pop up there, we'll I'll loop that around a couple of different speeds and we'll look at beats 3 and 4. So here we go. Alright, so if we look at beats 3 and 4, we've got kick, snare, kick, snare, and so the hi-hats are going to land on the first kick, not the second, the first snare drum, the next kick, the next snare, we've got a kick on its own, a kick with the hi-hat, and then the snare with the hi-hat. Alright, so if I just sort of start looping that round a tiny bit, I'll try and count it, this might not go well, 3 E and 4 E and 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 Well, that took more than one take. Let's pop up there and do exactly the same as what we did with beats 1 and 2. Here we go. Alright, so once you've got both halves down, it's time to stick them together. I'm going to attempt to play this slowly and count at the same time. Again, might not go well, so expect a cut now. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... Okay, cool, so now we've got that down. Let's pop up there and I'll play that a couple of different speeds. Here we go. right, so by the time you get that down, it's probably taking a lot of patience, a lot of practice. The next thing to do is we're going to move that over to the ride cymbal so we get a nice sweet sort of ting 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 sort of sound. So hopefully the actual little ostinato of the right hand is going to just pop out a tiny bit more. Again, you're playing exactly the same thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and no 1 Okay, we can get that down, that sounds quite nice. We're now going to bring in the left foot. And so what we're going to do with the right hand and the left foot is we're going to sort of play like a straight version of that classic sort of jazz ride pattern. So we're going to go 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Okay, again, but the difference with this is more emphasis on the downbeat. So on the beat 1, the beat 2, the beat 3 and the beat 4. So take this nice and slow. What I'll do, if I just start off, I'll shoot straight up there. I'll start off just by playing the ting, 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 ting. Playing it more straight, you can sort of, you know, bounce it up a bit. And that sounds quite nice, but we're going to keep it quite straight for this particular lesson. So up there, a couple of different speeds, bringing that left foot in. All right, here we go. Cool, and finally there's another thing we can do instead of using the ride cymbal. It sounds quite cool if you use a tom. It sounds quite nice on the rim of the drum, or if you've got a cowbell or something like that, just to get that sort of ta 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 to really pop out. All right, so what I'll do now, if I just sort of finish things off by playing it on the floor tom as an example, but like I said, just experiment moving your right hand around the kit and see if you can keep all those other patterns nice and smooth as well. If not, smoother than me, because I'm still working on it. All right, so let's pop up there and then I'll come and say goodbye. Here we go. Alright guys, so there it is. I hope you enjoyed that lesson. It's a real coordination nightmare. As you can see, I'm still just getting used to it, but the more I play it, the smoother it's going to get. If you want the sheet music, pop over to onlinedrumming.com. You can go and grab that completely for free. Also, while you're over there, you can check out my quick start guide to playing drums and some other ebooks I've got over there as well. If you check the links down below, you'll find Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, and all that lovely stuff. And if you look down here, you'll find last week's video, which links to this one, and another random one I've stuck in there, which if you like this one, hopefully you'll like that one too. So either way, take care, keep drumming, and I'll see you next Thursday for some more fun drumming ideas. All right, see you later.